Hey guys, today we'll be looking at improving performance, which is our HSC option critical question 2, and which is what are the planning considerations for improving performance? Hopefully in today's double we'll be able to get through initial planning considerations and at least start some of the planning of a training year, which is periodization. Before you start watching this video, you need your booklet, okay, which you should have got from your teacher, which looks like what's on the screen. You also should have received 2 pages which are blank to help you expand your knowledge of this content, and as well as that, if you have a device, clicking onto Canvas so that you can follow along. If you click into Canvas, if you go into Improving Performance, click on the second question. Okay, wait there, I can go back. Click on the second question, what are the planning considerations, and it will take you to this page, and what you will have is a link to pdhpeer.net, which we'll be using, as well as the PowerPoint, which I'll be putting up anyway, but you can follow on. And you guys have access to this at any time, so anytime when you're doing summary notes you'll be able to look back over it or revisit this video if you're not sure of something. Okay, so let's go to our booklet. Okay, actually before we do that, let's have a look at our PowerPoint. So in your syllabus, what you need to learn about is the initial planning considerations. So we're going to look at performance and fitness needs of individuals as well as in teams. Sometimes in team sports, individuals play different roles. If you think about, say, a goalkeeper in soccer, they have very different performance and fitness needs than, say, a midfielder. So we'll have a look at those. The scheduling of events and competitions. This is also a really important consideration when we're thinking about how we're going to plan or set up training programs for those events, and also the climate and season in which these events or schedule of events is happening. What we need to do with this information is describe the specific considerations of planning for performance in events and competitions. How would this planning differ for elite athletes and recreational or amateur participants? So we're looking at the 3 initial dash points, but we also have to look at them from an elite perspective and a recreational or amateur perspective. So that's really important when you are doing this work. When you have a look at pdhpeer.net's video, he actually breaks it down, and that's what I want you to do on your worksheet that you receive from your teacher, so that you'll actually be able to cover that content effectively with this dot point. Alrighty, so let's have a look at initial planning considerations. So in general, when we are thinking about considerations, we're thinking about what programming we'll have to do. Okay, we need to plan for this programming so that our players and the performance of the teams are actually optimized and we kind of want to hit our goals. The other thing is also thinking about the smaller or shorter training sessions and how they actually link to the whole overall plan. And we also need to make sure that we improve those, we make those improvements against things that we've kind of set to achieve. So in your booklet you should have performance and fitness needs, and it says initially there are 4 major aspects. So we've got analysing the demands of the sport, both in terms of fitness and skill, determining the purpose of the training year, analysing the athlete's current fitness and skill level, and determining where the athletes actually want to go. So when we're thinking about and analysing the demands of the sport, we've got to think about those fitness and those skill related components that we learnt about in prelim. So we've got to go all the way back there and think about what we actually, what the sport needs, okay, in terms of fitness, like cardiorespiratory endurance, and skills like passing or balance or agility, and a range of other things. So we've got to think about that when we consider the demands. What's the purpose of the training year? Is it to make it into the grand final, or is it a year that's leading up to a national championship or to be selected for an Australian team? So they're things that we have to consider. We need to analyse the athlete's current fitness and skill level, so we do that through our pre-testing. and that can also help with the planning and determining where athletes actually want to go. So they'll have different goals, different sets of tasks that they want to achieve in that year. So you've got another 5 dot points, and what you actually need to do is, if we go back to our PowerPoint, there is 5 extra dot points that I want you to write down. So what you need to do is actually pause the video here, write down the information, and then once you've unpaused it, I'll continue on. I can't sort of sit here and wait for you to fill it in. Okay, so pause it now and write those into your booklet. Okay, once you've done that, this is in your booklet, just in a smaller table down here. Okay, I need it big because I've got dodgy eyes. Okay, actually before we do that, we'll have a look at those needs. So effective programs are based around the data. So we talked about fitness testing, data, previous seasons, if we've had those athletes, maybe current performance and what they've shown you. Data can be collected in these different ways. Information becomes the basis of how we plan and how we address those individual and team considerations. The elements also need to be considered in terms of an individual and team requirement, and it's an example here is maybe some individuals have been really training hard in their off season, so they're still really fit, but others may not be, so we need to determine where they sit. Or maybe the team's performance last year was poorer than expected due to fitness concerns or skill related or performance related aspects. So we would probably try and plan for that, and that would be something in our initial considerations before we even start training our athletes. So in that table, it says it's got individual and team performance and fitness needs. So as an individual, we're going to think about physical fitness, physical attributes that they need: strength, power, endurance, and flexibility. Skills such as running and batting, game sense and tactics and strategies that the person's going to use within that game setting. Any psychological considerations such as their arousal levels, okay, and their motivation for the sport, and any of the other things such as social considerations. So some of those would be more to do with the elite athlete. Others, like amateurs, probably have more of a social focus for why they're playing this sport. As a team, some of the performance and fitness needs is establishing team goals. Okay, so their performance goals. What are we going to achieve this year or this competition? They need to develop tactics and strategies that they're involved in within a group. So line-outs in rugby, forward, so rugby union. As a netballer, I'm a shooter, so I would have to practice certain tactics or strategies if I've got a taller player, or who's going to take the throw in and who's going to drive where, and etc. So if you play a sport, you would have those type of tactics and strategies that as a team you need to learn together. Organisational considerations such as training days and venues, leadership, who's captain, and allocation of support roles in the team, which probably would have already been done before this time. So what I'd like you to do is I want you to actually go to pdhpe.net, which I've got up here, and I want you to watch this video, and it gives you a really good insight into the fitness and performance needs, and I want you to watch the video up until that point, as well as if you click onto the side, you'll see the little drop down box, and it will also come up with some really good information about the fitness and performance needs for athletes, okay, and specific sports, and the differences between elite and recreational athletes or amateur athletes. So if you have a look at those blank sheets, you'll see where you have to fill that information in. So I suggest you read, watch the video, and then come up with a summary for your sheet. I'm going to stop this video here, and then I'm going to start a new one. So get onto that, and you'll hear from me for the next video.